Hi, y'all. My name is Sophia.
My name is Hank.
And welcome to You Know Me So Well.
That really threw me off. That was
I had that planned. I was just really feeling it. I had to do it. Anyways, today we are coming at you. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Whoa.
We're coming at you with a fun episode. We're going to be talking about liking people and crushes, but we're going to do it from both the female and male perspectives. So basically we're going to format it in the sense that we'll share like signs that a girl or a guy is into you, and then signs that a girl or a guy is not into you. And then we'll talk a little bit about something else, but I don't really know how to explain it, so you're just going to have to stick around and wait to hear it. So let's get into it. If you are in the current situation where, maybe you're talking to someone or you're interacting with someone and you're like, I have no clue whether this person likes me, maybe this will help clear things up a little. And yeah, maybe we can at least help one person out there. We'll see. Anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start with so I'm obviously doing the girl's perspective. Hank will be doing the guy's perspective. So I'm going to start with if a girl doesn't like you. I want to say before getting into my list and I have to give a warning. Take this with a grain of salt. Obviously, this is not necessarily a generalization. We're mainly sharing from our own experiences, maybe what we've heard from friends and stuff like that. But this doesn't account for every female or male out there. Probably doesn't account for a lot of them on certain things. So if someone is doing something different and you're like, oh, but Hank and Sophia told me if they do this, then it definitely means this. That might not be the case with this person, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. We're just sharing our stuff. But again, maybe there will be hints in here where you're like, oh, I've seen someone do this. Maybe this means that they like me or they don't like me, So that's had to put in that warning. So yeah, going back to if a girl doesn't like you, I will say, if you're friends with a girl and you're trying to figure out whether she likes you, there's a lot of stuff where it kind of could go either way. And I'm saying this from personal experience because I had a guy best friend who ended up liking me. But I had a guy best friend where we were super close. And I would say I did certain things that might have been considered crossing onto the other side, but I never was interested in him that way. So, I feel with girls and maybe also with guys, but of course I don't know, sometimes girls will cross lines and you'll think that means one thing, but they actually aren't interested. So it's a little confusing. Anyways, let me get into my list. So, first one is one that I think is totally true with guys too. In fact, I initially saw this in guys, but then when I was thinking about this list, I realized can go either way. If a girl doesn't like you, she will state that she doesn't want a relationship. I have experienced this with guys before. I feel if someone says, I don't want a relationship, it many times means they don't want a relationship with you. Not necessarily they don't want a relationship, period. I feel most people are generally open to getting into a relationship if they find the right person. So, okay. My next one is we'll talk to you about other guys. And then also we'll ask you for advice on guys. Both of these are an active friend zone. So guys, if you have a girlfriend, and she's telling you about these other guys she's getting with, she's asking you for advice, whatever it is, know that is an active friend zone. And that is the ultimate active friend zone too. If that's happening, that's it. I was under the impression that this was pretty obvious to guys, but then realized that was not the case when, the guy best friend turned into someone who actually liked me. So yeah, I would definitely say like this is the one thing where you can't go wrong on. Like if a girl is going to start talking about other guys, like I don't think it's necessarily to make you jealous. It's genuinely that they're just not interested in you. So, and then the last one I have, I'm sure this list could be so much longer, but I couldn't think of anything else. They may lead you on. So again, doesn't go for everyone, but let's say you like a girl and she's like your friend. If she knows that you like her, there's a chance that she might lead you on. This would probably happen if you're like younger, like, you know, like it's one of the first times that she's been liked by a guy. And I think this happens because it's just like so flattering and you guys are friends and sometimes it's hard to like I did this once with my like the first time I ever experienced like anyone liking me, period, actually. I feel like when you're like this happens for the first time, you're so flattered and you're like, oh my gosh, like someone likes me. That's so exciting. But then you realize it's your friend and it's a little hard to like manage the situation. And so you end up in this weird situation where you end up just like leading them on because you don't like, you're like flattered, but you don't know how to like just cut it off right away. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're being led on by a girl and you know that she like knows that you're interested, that might be a sign that she doesn't like you. All right, let's pass it off to Hank.
All right, so I've got a series of questions written down that you can ask yourself. Are they pretty much always giving you, I won't say pretty much always, I'll say are they frequently giving you dry responses? If they are, they're not interested. Yeah. Do they never ever reach out to you first? I think this is the big one. If they're not reaching out to you first, 100% they don't like you. If they are interested, they will make an effort to reach out to you and like actually like try to talk to you. The next one is, do they go super long without responding with pretty much no reason? This is another one. They just don't like you. I know it's like I've been in situations too, and like I've been in situations it's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I like them, but they're doing this, and that. But maybe they do like me. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're just like kind of like this. They're not. They just don't like you if they're doing these things. Not to be harsh, but I think it's a fairly understandable rule.
All right, so then let's get into if they do like you. I like the questions. Those were really great.
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you.
So now we're going to get into the section of if that person likes you. So I think with girls, it can go one of two ways. Either they'll choose to openly express interest or they'll be very subtle about it. I feel like many times it starts like, I don't know. I think it just depends on the girl. So you might just get it straight up. And if you get it straight up, then I feel like it's pretty obvious at that point. Like it's known. But if it's subtle, that's a little bit more difficult. So now we're going to try and decipher some stuff. Okay. So one big thing, if a girl likes you, that she will tell her friends. So if maybe you're like in the same like social circle or even not, if her friends start to get involved and try to help her out, like maybe they're coming to you, they're starting to talk to you a little bit more, maybe like asking you about her, stuff like that, you can kind of infer that she's interested. Yeah. I checked with my sister on this one. She agreed. So yeah, like this is a big one. Personally, I have match made some friends. And when I mean match made, I was that like little messenger who was going between like the girls and the guys. And it always started off with, you know, I was friends with the girl and I also knew the guy and I was like maybe kind of friends with him or I had some connection to him or maybe even I didn't, honestly. But, you know, my friend would obviously tell me that she liked him and then I would start like talking to him a little and like asking him questions about her and like, you know, maybe trying to push him to like talk to her, ask her out, do something like that. So yeah, if friends get involved, I think that's a huge one. This might be like for a younger crowd, I'm not sure, but still, keep your eyes out. Another one is she'll want to spend time with you and will actively go out of her way to do so. So, maybe she'll bring up plans, or if you say you're doing something, maybe she'll like suggest coming along, or like, I don't know, like she'll just try and find a way to spend more time with you outside of whatever ways she spends time with you right now. So like, I don't know, if you guys just see each other in school, maybe she'll like suggest like, oh, let's do a little like study date. Maybe not like title it that way, but something like that. So if like a girl is making an active effort to spend more time with you, I would say that definitely means she's at least somewhat interested. Another one is maybe she will drop subtle hints or maybe make jokes about liking you. Subtle hints. Let's see how I can describe this. I don't know, like this can come in so many different forms. Maybe she's like a little touchy, or like the only way I can describe this is an example that I have from when I had a crush back in 8th grade. So embarrassing. I really liked this guy. I had made it a point to not tell anyone. I wanted to be super subtle about it. I thought I was being so slick. And I had art with him, and I had this little like art friend group. It was me, him, and then these 2 other girls who I was really close with. One of them was like my best friend at the time. And, we would just like hang out. Like obviously we had like art assignments and stuff like that, but we'd hang out in the class and all that and like do fun stuff. And I don't know what it was, but like one day this conversation came up of like doing his hair because he was the only guy. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'll get bows, because I used to wear bows all the time. And I went out of my way to go to Target. Obviously I couldn't drive at the time, so like my mom took me to Target. I don't think it was like I was like, Mom, we need to go to Target to get bows for this guy. It was more like we were making a Target run, and I got these little bows and I brought them to the class to do his hair like a couple of days later. And my friend was like, oh my gosh, you like him? And I was like, what? No. And she was like, yeah, like I can tell. And I was like, this is so embarrassing to me. Or embarrassing for me. So I feel like that's the best way I can describe like what I meant by that. And also she makes some jokes about like potentially liking you. I would feel like your ears can like perk up. If a girl, I wrote this as if a girlie's overly nice to you. If a girl is overly nice to you, like really just doing the most, I feel like that means she's interested. No girl is going to be like either that or she just like really, really wants to be friends with you. But I would lean towards like she likes you, will stalk you. Now you may not know about this, but when a girl likes you, she will stalk you. Now I can tell another story about this. So my very first crush when I was in 6th grade was this guy I didn't even know. But he wasn't a celebrity either. He was just like a local celebrity. For some reason, all my friends had gone to this one gymnastics school, which I was going to at the time. And I had one other friend who went there. Anyways, so I was going to this gymnastics school. And for some reason, like all these other girls had gone there too. And they knew of this guy named Dylan. And I'd never seen this guy in real life. I had only seen pictures that they had shown, which I'm not really sure like where these pictures were found, because come to think of it, this was like what, 2014? No, 2013? 2012? No, this was 2012. So anyways, I don't really know where we were finding these pictures. But yeah, he became like, for some reason, all these girls had crushes on him, and I all of a sudden had a crush on him. And he was like a child model. So like if you looked up his full name, like you could find like some of his like child modeling photos. So yeah, she will stalk you. So like but I feel like how would you know? Right? So this is a little bit of a hard one. But like, let's say she brings up something about your like Instagram that's like not extremely noticeable. That means she stalked you. Okay. And then my last one is she may be kind of shy around you. I feel like a certain group of girls, when they like someone, I could probably attest for this, will just go super shy. Like if you're hanging out in person, especially if it's just the two of you, like she might she might be shyer than usual. Like if she is usually more outgoing, that definitely means that like she might be interested in you. So yeah, that's the list I came up with.
Beautiful. It's a pretty accurate list. So mine, okay, I'm now realizing they kind of too closely intermingle with what they don't like, but I'll explain a little bit more for each thing. So the first one is obviously they'll reach out to you first, and not just like every once in a while, like they will actively reach out and talk to you first. Like I know it was a thing, like if you get home from school and this guy is texting you every single night, like he doesn't go a night without hitting you up, like he's into you 100%. Like it's probably, I honestly feel like it's kind of true of most. I feel like that's kind of true of both. Like if they're never, I already talked about that, whatever. Another thing is when you talk to them, they'll tease you or make like an effort to tease you. But yeah, they'll tease you a lot. Like just kind of make fun of you a little bit. Like not anything crazy, but just like they'll tease you a little bit. Like just small things. Like they'll just get at you a little bit. I don't know why we as males do this, but it's entertaining.
Okay, so I I asked on our Instagram story for questions about both girls and guys that people had. And one of the questions was, does bullying equal liking a girl?
Okay, so I said it depends on the type and the degree of it. So, like I just kind of talked about, there's a difference between teasing and bullying. If a guy is being straight up mean, like that's bullying, and I think that means he doesn't like you. Like if he's just being straight up mean, like saying actually like rude things to you, either he's terrible at teasing or he just doesn't like you. But if it's teasing, then I would honestly say yes, that's a pretty decent sign that they're into you. Like, yeah. I got a couple more things though. Another thing I've written down is share more personal stuff. I think they'll kind of, not only will they guide conversations a little bit more, but they'll also just kind of be open in a way that they wouldn't with just some random person who is likes them and is trying to talk to them. If they're like kind of leading the conversation into more like personal things and like sharing like deeper personal stuff about themselves and trying to get you to share deeper things about you, I think that's a sign that they're at least interested. You know, like maybe they don't like you all the way yet, but they're at least interested in you and interested in kind of developing more. And the last thing I have written down, I'll say it exactly how I say it, or exactly how I have it written down. Honestly, probably tell you. Maybe not tell you straight up, but if a guy asks you to hang out one on one, he's into you. 100%. Just not, no second questions about it. It's like, maybe he just wants to hang out as friends. Promise you he doesn't.
Slay. Okay, so now we get into the section that actually, so I had written this whole long thing down, and we were trying to figure out like how to incorporate it into an episode, and we were like coming up with different ideas and all that, and we eventually landed on this episode. So I'm going to share it now. So I was kind of thinking about, so this episode was going to be called The Gender War, because I feel like when you really think about it, girls and guys are not much different, especially when it comes to like the whole aspect of liking and crushes. For girls, like if you like someone, you're likely going to make it known, even if it's subconsciously, you know, like sure, many times we choose not to share this out loud, but you know, our actions will hint how we feel. And then I was going to tell the whole story about my 8th grade crush, but you know, we already heard that one, so never mind. Anyways, the point is, surprisingly, it's the same way with guys. If a guy likes you, they're going to make it known. You absolutely won't have to question it. I feel like so many times you hear about, specifically with girls, but I'm sure guys feel this sometimes too. You hear about like girls who are like, I'm talking to this guy right now, or I'm hooking up with this guy right now, and it's like, you know, like he's nice and all that, and like I like him, but I can't figure out whether he likes me. And then they give this like list of like things that he does, and it's like, yeah, this list doesn't look very good. But the issue is, it's usually the blind leading the blind. So it's like you're telling it to your friend, and your friend is like, well, like maybe, like maybe he's just like super busy with stuff, and like that's why he's not texting you back, or like maybe like there's just like a whole list of excuses that come with like the actions, and we excuse like their actions, and we're like, yeah, like maybe there's just something up, and he actually does like me, and it's like he's just not telling me outright. No. If a guy likes you, they will make it known. Same way as if a girl likes you, they will make it known. You will not have to play those games that people play where they think that like, maybe there's like a really good excuse for why the person isn't giving 100%, because I feel like and I'm sure there are people who have like success stories with this whole game playing, but like that's the exception. And you are likely not the exception. You are the rule. Fun fact, which is from, yeah, he's not that into you. We just watched that movie. But like, that's so true. Like most people are not the exception. And if you happen to be the exception, like good for you. But like, don't keep thinking in your mind that you're the exception. Play it as if you're the rule, and just like go based off of that. So if a guy or girl is making an active effort to be in your life, and they are showing interest, and they're making it very clear that they're interested in you, that means they're interested in you. And if you're interested in them, like that is your sign to take action. Like maybe, you can't always say like because someone's interested in you and they're making it like obvious, they're going to just like jump the gun and be like, okay, like, do you want to date now? Someone's going to eventually have to push it. So if you see the signs and you're not questioning it at all, then go ahead, say something, or maybe eventually they will say something, but like you're not risking much. Like if it's very clear, like for example, with Hank, like I just knew he liked me. Like he didn't have to say anything. It was just very clear. Whereas like with me, I think it was for the longest time. Yeah, it was like a game that you were playing with me. So yeah, I think that in that sense, like if you're in that position right now where you're talking to someone and you just really don't know, and you find yourself just like playing these games of like, oh, maybe this, but like it's not happening, or like maybe this, and like maybe this will eventually happen. Like I would say that person is probably not worth your time. You should throw them away. And if they were interested in you, or they become interested in you at some point, they'll come back. Like they will come back. So don't like wait around for them to realize this, because they may never realize it. And then you're just sitting there like waiting and waiting, and you just get your heart broken over and over again, waiting for them to like finally come to this realization that they're never going to realize. Sorry, this is really harsh, but like I have to ingrain it in people's heads. Go off, live your life, have fun, like meet other people. Maybe you'll actually find someone who is genuinely interested in you and you're interested in them, and it works out. And if not, like, yeah, if they come back, they come back. And at that point, you can decide whether you're still interested. And if you are, then maybe things will work out. Otherwise, it's okay. Like, you're not missing out on anything. There are so many, as people say, there's so many fish in the sea. Like, you're going to find someone eventually. So you want to be confident in your decision. You don't want to feel like, even if someone like entertains you, but they're like kind of like half-assing it, like red flag, run away. You can give into it, but like it's not going to end well. So, another thing on that note, I feel like when you get into a relationship, like things are supposed to be really great. And if they're not, like it doesn't get any better than that. So like if someone is only putting in like half the effort, bare minimum, maybe not treating you that great, like don't expect that they're going to become better over time. In fact, they're more likely to become worse than better. So that's another sign to just like stop giving that person your time of day and move on to find better. Because there is better out there, whether you believe it or not. And you just have to like trust the process. And I feel like most people want to avoid as much heartbreak as possible. So like with what we've said, maybe you can avoid, dealing with people who are just going to hurt you rather than do any good.
I was about to just ask some like comparative questions.
Okay.
Just to, I think you talked about this earlier, but maybe there was one before this. What age were you when you had your very first crush?
11. How about you?
I was in kindergarten,
Oh my gosh.
very early on.
When I was in kindergarten. When I was in pre-K, I used to chase boys around on the playground. I was notorious for doing that. They hated me.
Giving real pick-me energy.
Yeah, I definitely was a pick-me girl at that age. Didn't know what that was, but definitely was that.
Let's see, what else? When was the first time you ever told a guy that you liked him?
When I was 17.
Really?
Yeah.
I was in 6th grade, so...
What in the world? What? Why is everything with you so early?
I don't know. Is this...
Well, who did you tell?
Who did I tell? It's this girl named Tess. I liked her.
And you told her?
Yeah, well, so the story goes, I was talking to my friend Connor about it on the bus, and this kid, such a jackass, I hated this kid so much, next to me, like, overheard it and was like, wait, you like her? And then the next day, I don't know, a week later, he, like, did something to piss me off or something, so I need him in the balls, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Then the next day, I'm starting the day, I'm at my locker, and he comes up to me, and he goes, because you need me in the balls, I'm going to tell Tessie you like her. And I was like, well, I got to get ahead of this. So I told her.
So funny. How did she respond?
She did not like me back.
Awkward.
Yeah. Sad.
Sorry about that.
Tough.
Sorry about that, bud.
It's okay. Let's see, what else? Such a weird story.
Well, I told my first crush story, so who was your first crush?
The girl in kindergarten?
Yeah.
I don't really remember. Okay, so her name, I remember like one detail about her, and it's a weird detail. But it makes sense because it's a very rare thing. She had diabetes, and a bunch of times during the day, the aide would have to come like inject her or check her
my
blood
God.
pressure or whatever with shit. And I remember I was sitting in the bus line on the very last day of school, and I've been hyping myself up all week. I was like, all right, last day of school, I'm going to tell her I like her. And I didn't. I chickened out.
How do you remember this?
I remember everything.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I really think about it, maybe my first crush was also in kindergarten. I liked this guy named Brandon.
There you go.
I don't know if he was a crush, though. Like, I can't remember.
Well,
I just know
what are we defining by
I just know there's this video, this, like, home video of... We had some, like, school performance for something, I don't know. And we were all singing a song, and we were just singing it to each other. I should get someone to find that video.
You should, actually. What are we defining by crush?
I don't know. Like, first, like, legitimate crush for me was the one in 6th grade. But, like...
What makes you say legitimate?
Like, I knew that was a crush.
Like, did you actually have any sort of romantic feelings for this person?
Oh, I don't know.
Because if so, then yeah, mine was in 6th grade too. I wasn't having romantic feelings.
What does romantic feelings mean, though?
Like, when you like someone, Like, did you like them?
Yeah.
Then yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Then let me...
Now Hank is changing his answer.
Well, then I guess it would be in 6th grade. Like, that's the first time I had, like, I think romantic feelings for someone.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I don't think a 5-year-old would be capable of having romantic feelings.
That's why I was so confused.
Yeah.
So, like,
okay.
All right,
yeah.
guys, we got it. We figured it out.
Now we figured it out. I remember, I think I was in 1st grade. There was this girl, I think her name was Liza. Yeah. And I remember...
When was this? In 1st grade?
Yeah.
Why are you telling us... Wait, what did you just say? Didn't you say in 6th grade?
Sorry, I went on to a new topic.
Okay, yeah, I was really confused.
I haven't. Okay, yeah, I have another story.
Hank is about to start listing out all the crushes he's ever had in his whole entire life. Yes, let's hear them, Hank. We'd love to hear them. That's what it sounds
I'm
like.
not
You
about
went
to
from
go.
kindergarten to first grade. Now we're then second grade and third grade. Hank, you're 21 years of age. We're gonna be here for a while. Everyone, go get a snack. Like, let's all sit down. Go get a snack. Like, pause everything you're doing so we can hear Hank share all of his crushes.
There was a point to this story. I was gonna ask you the same thing at the end.
Oh, okay, all right.
There was a
Sorry.
point to this story.
You better keep all of this in. This is too funny.
So I remember first grade. There was this girl named Eliza who would always. I honestly thought she was really annoying because she would always talk to me at school. Like, it was driving me crazy, and I just thought she was an annoying person. I didn't really think anything of it because I was in first grade. And then my parents, you know what a block party is?
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents went to this block party at the street by ours. And at the end of the night, they get home. They're like, Hank, so, you know that girl Liza in your class? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, her parents says she talks about you a lot at home. And I started crying. I was like, no, 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 no. I was distraught. I don't know why I remember that so vividly, but my parents were just sitting there. I was crying. They were just laughing at me. Oh. Okay, anyways. So the question at the end of that is, when was the first time someone liked you that you remember?
In high school.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
Like, no, like little elementary school crushes?
no, like I don't remember any of that.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, but like I seriously don't remember. First time was when I was a freshman in high school.
Their story?
Is there a story? Yeah, it was weirdest thing ever. I had a friend at the time who had a quinceanera, and at this quinceanera, I was sat at a table with this guy. I didn't know him. Because we went to different high schools, and so he went to high school with her, and I eventually ended up transferring to that school. But the point is, I didn't know him. And he had a girlfriend, and she was there, blah, blah, like really insignificant. Fast forward a couple months later, he adds me on Snapchat, and then he's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "You were the one who added me. Like, what's the point?" But I knew who he was by name because I think she'd like like my friend had talked about him. So I started talking to him over like Snap, back and forth. We didn't like ever hang out or anything, but he did come to one of my ballet performances, and it was the weirdest thing ever because he like fully came to watch it with his sister. Now we're 14 years of age. My parents were there too. And then like I met him after. He might have given me flowers or something, I don't know. We did a little exchange, and then I walked off and went home. And that was that.
That is so cute.
Yeah. I also, the same year, I had this other guy that I went to middle school with, like super random, had never really interacted with him, but I had met him again, like while we were in high school through that same friend. And then one day he just like randomly confessed his liking of me. He was like, I've liked you, or like I've liked you since like 7th grade. And I was like, what in the hell? And I'm pretty sure that was like not a joke, but like some weird form of like gaslighting, or and like I don't know. I can't think of like what the term would be, but it was a weird situation. And both of these guys were in love with that friend of mine who had introduced. So
It's quite an
yeah, that was
it's quite a love
interesting.
square. I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah.
You got any other just like funny stories?
I have a question. Have you ever been in a situation where you liked a girl and it was clear she liked you, but it didn't work out?
No, I honestly don't think I have. Have you?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So when I was a freshman in college, I was about to move to Hawaii and I had like met all of my housemates. Like we'd done like FaceTime calls. And there was one who I talked to. And for some reason, like what was supposed to probably be just like a 30-minute like, hey, like it's nice to meet you kind of conversation turned into like hours long. We talked for maybe like 5 hours and then I had something to do and we had planned on talking again later on. And after that, we like, this was like a month before we moved to Hawaii. So, like, in that month, we would talk all the time and we talk for hours on end and all that. And like, at first, for me, it wasn't like, I didn't, like, I liked talking to him, but I didn't think anything of it. But then my sister and my friend got in on it and started like making these comments and they were like, oh my God, like you could get with him and all that. And I was like, well, I'm living with him, so that's a little strange, but okay. And then it kind of escalated into, oh my God, wait, like, so then I like was considering that. I was like, okay, like maybe this is someone like, I don't know. And then it escalated to the point where I realized that I liked him. And like clearly I think he liked me too. Like we would talk all the time. Like as Hank was saying, like, you know, you're not going to go out of your way to talk to someone if you're not interested in them, especially not for hours on end, like at night, like falling asleep on FaceTime, like that's as intimate as it gets. But yeah, I really got to know him in that time period and he like besides just like liking him, like we got really close and I felt really comfortable with him, which was great because like I didn't know the other people I was moving in with very well. So I was like, at least like, even if nothing ever comes out of this, like I'll have like a close friend. But then we moved to Hawaii and nothing ever happened between us. We were like a little touchy at the beginning and everyone caught on. They were like, what is going on? And I was like, oh yeah, about that. But nothing ever happened. I did once almost kiss him, but that was it. And then for some reason he just like I don't think he ever he did I don't think he stopped liking me per se, but he just like decided to put boundaries up because he realized like we lived together and I guess didn't want other people to feel uncomfortable. But he never talked to me about it. He just like did it. And so, and then I obviously was like, oh, I guess this is not happening. And then by the time like we moved out, it was just like simply too late. Like I kind of hated him for what had happened. I didn't hate him, but like I was, you know, I realized like that was a red flag, so wasn't going to happen. But fun fact, actually, when I started liking him, I created this audio message on my iPad where I was like talking about this realization I was having about me liking him because like I hadn't liked someone in many, many years. And I guess I was like talking about like different aspects of like how I knew I liked him. And a year later, I liked Hank and I listened back to that audio message and that made me realize that I liked you. So, yep.
How crazy it all comes full circle.
It really does. Anyways, I think that's it for me.
Well, I got
Oh,
one more
okay.
story to tell. This is a funny story. Over my freshman year of high school, I liked this one girl, and we were Snapchatting a lot, like every day, because it's, you know, for some reason when you're in high school, your primary form of communication is Snapchat.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend at the time, I was talking to him about it. I was like, man, like, okay, well, I had just gone to, it was spring break for me. So my family and I had gone on vacation to visit visit my extended family and everything, and my sisters who were in college at the time. And so I was like, wow, like, I really want to ask her to, like, hang out when we get back. And he was, like, gassing me up. He was like, you should just do it. Like, what's the worst that happens? You're right. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And so I asked her, like, a couple of minutes later, I get the Snapchat back from her, and I'm, like, so nervous to open it. And I open it, and I accidentally double-click. I couldn't even see what she said.
Oh my God, no.
I was like, you have to be kidding me. I was like, what do I even respond to this? And then I'm pretty sure I was just like, I'm pretty sure what I responded back was, all right, let me know. Because I was like, either she said yes or either she said no. And I guess that's kind of the only way that I could like kind of play like a middle response, as if I just hadn't completely missed what she said. Because that, like, if someone just sends you something random on Snapchat, you can be like, wait, I accidentally clicked through it. Like, what'd you say? But not when it's something like that. Like, that'd be so uncomfortable. But then we never talked about it again. So I guess she said some form of no. But anyways, that was a funny story.
That was very interesting. You just wanted to share that story.
Yeah, that was a funny story.
I thought there might be like a question that follows, like the other one.
You got any embarrassing, not embarrassing, but just funny stories to share?
Well, yeah, I can kind of get into the one that I talked about where it was like the first time I told a guy I was like I liked him. Okay, I'm not going to tell the full story because it would take like hours, but essentially there was this guy. He didn't live in the US. Like, he was German and he was here for a couple of months. And somehow, some way, like, some family friend paired us up together and was like, okay, here you go, like, go ham. But she definitely wasn't setting us up because I was 17 years old and he was 19. She just thought, like, I could be friends with him, I guess. Anyways, a lot of things happen, whatever, blah, blah. Like, fast forward to... So we had hung out and we'd, like, slept together. Not, like, you know, like, when you sleep in a bed with someone, like, that's what I mean by slept together. And I almost had my first kiss from this experience too. And anyways, so after this event happened, I had this like weird confidence with him, which like I was not a confident person at the time. So I don't know where this confidence came from, but it was a very strange confidence that like just made me be able to do anything with him. Ask him the weirdest questions, like ask about his like past girlfriends and like dig into his life and all that. Like that's not me. But for some reason I had this confidence. And I guess this confidence extended to the fact that after this event happened, I all of a sudden decided I liked him. And like I said, I think I was just confused. Like, I don't think I actually liked him as like a crush type way. Like, it was more of just like, he was the first guy that I had found attractive in many, many years. And I guess I just was confused with life. And so I decided, I was like, I hate when people just like tiptoe around the fact that they like someone. Like, I'm just going to tell him. And so I did. And he was the one who said, I'm not interested in a relationship, which I later came to find out meant he was not interested in a relationship with me, which just totally makes sense because like, how would that have worked? You know, like, we had nothing going on between us, and he lived in a different country. But yeah, it was a humbling moment because I really thought I was doing something when I told him. I was like, I'm gonna shoot my shot and it's all gonna work out, and it didn't work out for the better, but it didn't work out. And I think after that, I decided I wasn't gonna tell guys anymore that I liked them. So,
No.
All right. Well, now that you've heard like all of our crush stories, I'm sure Hank has so many more, but those were literally all of my crush stories.
I could honestly like split this into 2 episodes.
Yeah,
Not this topic. I mean like right down the middle, like in this specific recording.
Yeah. We went from one to the other, but I hope you guys enjoyed this more like conversationalist type form we took today. You can let us know if you liked it.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was fun to talk about it. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of people who have podcasts where it's simply just them having like conversations with each other. Yeah. And I think initially when we like came up with the very initial idea of having this podcast, that's what we were thinking. We were thinking like us like just talking gibberish into a microphone. Yeah. Like our usual conversation. So maybe we'll transition to that at some point.
If you guys like this episode, send us an email or send us a DM. Maybe
contact us in whatever form you can think of contacting us. Maybe we should give them our phone numbers. Yeah.
If you guys like it, maybe we'll make more episodes like this, just more conversational.
Yeah, we'd love to.
I don't think I've ever been in this position while we've made a podcast before. I'm just laying down with my feet kicked up.
Laying in an interesting position. Oh my God, wait. I'll take a picture for you guys.
Yeah, make it the cover of this episode.
All right, I'll remember to post it when this episode comes out. All right. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to today's episode.
Thank you.
We will see you next week, and bye.